Good morning, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It's Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and that translates into a nice dose of no BS job search advice. This is a time where I'm going to spend about 15 minutes speaking with you about some element, because I believe that job search doesn't have to be hard or difficult or painful or take so long. It's just the skills needed to find a job are different than the skills needed to do a job. And that's where this show, my other one, which is called Job Search Radio, are designed to help you. Both, by the way, are available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, the BlackBerry Store, and a host of other podcast directories on the web. So all my content, like the podcasts, like my videos, like my books and guides to job hunting, are all designed to help you find work more quickly. Because most of the issue that you have is that it's not that you can't do the jobs that you're interviewing for or trying to get interviewed for. It's just you're making mistakes that are extremely costly even if you get the interview. So, like I said, I'm going to take about 15 minutes speaking with you today and on every Monday except when there's a national holiday to help you try and find work more quickly. So today's show is brought to you by Audible. Now, if you go to audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter and you sign up for a free trial, you'll be able to get a complimentary audiobook as part of that trial. So again, audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter. Sign up for a trial of Audible, get a free audiobook as part of that. And I know you like audio because, frankly, you listen to my podcasts, right? So again, audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter. Now, on a recent show, I spoke about how to cope with having a small LinkedIn network. But today I thought I would approach things a little bit differently. And that is talking with you about the advantages of a big network and the disadvantages, the advantages of a small network. Now, in a small network, you have the opportunity to develop close ties with people who already know you. So basically, right off the bat, these are people who will do more for you than the broad network. Now, this is terrific because they're very likely to go out and help you, go the extra mile, do more stuff for you as part of your networking efforts. And since statistically, networking fills about, again, there are conflicting numbers about this, 70% of all positions. And within those 70% of those are filled by people who you didn't know at the beginning of the search. Getting your network to act on your behalf is a huge part of the job search strategy. So by having people close to you who know you already, you can work those connections to try to find introductions to organizations and people who might be trying to hire or might be able to help you. And that is terrific. It's really what ultimately the networking strategy is all about. The however is, unfortunately, so many organizations are going to be outside of your network connection. So you don't really have deep penetration to be able to get in contact with firms. So I'm going to give examples. Let's say you live in New York or in, I'm just going to pick a town arbitrarily, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you're trying to get introduced to a major employer in your town. Now, if your network consists of 50 or 100 people, in New York, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to find an entree into that organization. And in Tulsa, which is another good-sized city, you may be able to get an entree into the organization, but it may be at the wrong point of that organization. So for example, I'm going to use IT as an example. You may be trying to get an introduction for an IT position, but you may know someone in accounting who doesn't really know the IT people, doesn't really have those people in their network. So the game plan becomes, what do you do? Ultimately, what you want to do is find that introduction, find that way to penetrate into the organization. And that's really where the broader network comes into play. So basically, with a broader network, because LinkedIn lets you get up to 3 levels of connection, building a massive network is pretty easy. But how to get them to act for you is often a little bit more complicated. So I always encourage people to work their close network and at the same time do things to build a larger network as well. So the first thing I encourage people to do is to join as many as 50 groups that relate to what they do. So to build that network, you want to find groups that have large numbers of members. Why? Because you'll have a greater effect and be able to reach into more organizations within your geography or within your area of interest in order to find opportunities. Gives you a huge advantage, but again, if they don't know you, why will they do anything for you? You may ask for help and you may get something that is at best, cursory or superficial. Hi, this person asked me to forward their profile to you. He's interested in an opportunity at your firm. I don't know anything about him. Caveat emptor. That doesn't really do a lot for you. Your note is in front of someone, but unless it's spectacular, you haven't gotten an endorsement from anyone. Joining groups gives you an opportunity to do things to create impressions with people. So that could be about writing about things that you do. And the LinkedIn publishing platform goes a long way toward helping people do that. After all, in the publishing platform, you can publish videos, podcasts, audio like this one. You can post articles that you've written and then distribute it to groups within that you're a member of. And by doing that, have an opportunity to create a great impression with people. After all, that's what you're trying to do when you have a large network. Do things that create impressions with people so that they learn about you and trust you through your intelligence, information offerings, things along those lines, so that at a later point, if you ask for help, they're more inclined to trust that you're a decent professional, competent at what you do, and here's the big thing, won't embarrass them. You see, when you're asking someone to refer you, the biggest reservation that they have is, are you someone who's going to embarrass them in front of the person that they're introducing you to? And thus, is this going to come back to haunt them at a later time? Are they going to wind up not being trusted because of you? Conversely, if you do a great job, even if they don't hire you, the hiring manager, the person's colleague or friend, suddenly feels as though this person understands what they look for and trusts them. So you're always looking to avoid the former and to go for the latter. And to create that level of trust is really what the big network is all about. Because again, why should someone help you just because you're connected with them on LinkedIn? Especially when they take the risk of being embarrassed by you. And at the end of the day, you take no risk. You're just trying to get in front of someone who's got a job. And from their vantage point, from the hiring person's vantage point, they may lose trust in that other person. So recognizing that, you have to go into that big network to do things to create favorable impressions, to do things that foster trust, that create the impression that you're competent and worth referring, that they can trust you to do a great job. Now, again, you're going to do this with your small network, but you want to build up your network. And by going into large groups, by doing writing using the LinkedIn publishing platform, doing things that market those publications into the broadest possible space, which can use Facebook, it can use Twitter, and a whole host of other locations. You're going to be doing things that create the impression that you're trustworthy and worth helping. Because at the end of the day, since recommendations and since your network is going to be such an enormous part of your job search, you have to do things that make that larger network and even your smaller network want to help you. So that's my advice for this show. And if you'd like to get more information, I want to encourage you to come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. Again, that's thebiggamehunter.us. I want you to go exploring there because there's an enormous amount of great content there. All my podcasts are available through my website. All my books and many of my guides. I'm still bringing over all my guides to the website as of this airing. So all my books and many of my guides are available through my website. So you can pay what you want for my books and guides. I encourage you to pay something because they do have value, even if you don't think they're perfect. And I make them, I've recommended prices of like $1 for one of them, $3 for another. My books are recommended prices of $5. So not exactly big, expensive things, but if you can't afford it, don't pay for it. Encourage people to come over to the site and go exploring because I'm trying to help people while also trying to fill jobs. You can search positions I'm recruiting for. Post your resume to more than 50 sites from mine. You have access to easy to work with career builder links, job search universe, a whole host of content to help you with finding work more quickly. You can find out about my books and guides to job hunting, other people's books. So come over to thebiggamehunter.us and go explore. Now here's a few final things I want to remind you of. First of all, if your current firm is trying to hire someone, I make a living by filling positions. So if you'd be kind enough, send me an email at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Again, that's jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Let me know who to contact and whether or not I can mention your name. If you can provide me with a phone number or email address, that's perfect. I'd like to help your current firm staff positions. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. The address is linkedin.com/in/thebiggamehunter. I accept connection requests from people worldwide, except if you're a third-party recruiter or in a country known for scams or spam. Then I won't do it. Finally, if you have a question about job hunting, you are not alone. Most people do. But you know what mistake most people make? They ask the wrong people for advice. Friends, family, even hiring managers that they know, former managers. These are people who often know as little as they do about job hunting, and thus you get the kind of advice you're paying for. Instead, contact me through liveperson.com, where I'm a job search and career coaching expert. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And you're getting the advantage of someone who's been in the recruiting business for more than 40 years, has filled more than 1,100 positions. I'm almost at 1,200 now. And I've evaluated and assessed almost 500,000 people in my career. So again, reach out to me through liveperson.com. I'd love to help you. So this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Hope you found this show helpful. I'll be back next week with more No BS job search advice. Take care.